We have an update on CM Punk's injury status, plus multiple NXT stars are suspended, and an NXT title match has been announced for Halloween Havoc. It's all in the wrestling news right now. Always good when you don't see somebody after a long time to see them happy and healthy and living their best life. It is nice to be back.
Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks,
and
mate.
Congratulations as well.
Oh, thank you very much. That's a lovely little treat.
I'd like to point out, I've said that off camera. I'm not just doing that for...
He waited till the camera turned on to tell me congratulations on my engagement. Thank you very much. More importantly, CM Punk has been spotted. First time since all that fun that we had at the All Out press conference. Now, it feels like a long time ago.
Oh, yes, indeed, it does. But yes, he has been spotted. This photo was shared on Twitter by @CM I believe you pronounce it. Yes. Just a picture of CM Punk. He's smiling, he's looking content, but crucially as well, after reports that he tore his tricep in that match with John Moxley, his arm is all strapped up, as you can see.
If you ever need an indicator that he has a triceps injury or he just likes wearing 4 very chunky watches, this looks very much like this is a recovery from an injury, from surgery. And it does explain why we probably won't see him for a while, among many reasons.
Of course. And it has been obviously reported that CM Punk is unlikely to return to AEW following the whole fallout from All Out and the media scrum and the brawl backstage and everything, which now feels like a lifetime ago.
It really does. I mean, what's been the mood sort of here about CM Punk potentially never returning to AEW?
From what I could tell, it didn't cause as much of a furore as you might think, that sort of news. I think everybody's just still recovering from the initial drama of it. But I found a really interesting thing when this picture was shared. I guess just because he's looking quite happy and content, perception started to shift again, our opinion, because all the comments were like, no, he's all right.
So I can't stay mad at you.
A week's a long time in politics and in wrestling. So it's hard to tell. I think Punk's one of those people where, for all the drama and all the stuff, if he did come back, he would get a huge pop because it's CM Punk. Regardless of whether or not you agree with what he did or which side your opinions lie on. But at the same time, you kind of got to, if you're Tony Khan at least, you've got to kind of put that to the back of your mind and have a plan and think, right, what do I actually do here?
I hope that Tony Khan can avoid the liveliness of the internet and just stay focused on what's next.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he doesn't do that it did give us Luigi Primo on AEW the other week, so
that's true.
There are every cloud silver lining. Staying with AEW now, there were plans for a bit of a head-to-head between AEW and WWE for next weekend, for the first Friday in October. That looks like it's changing, isn't it?
A little bit. PW Insider have revealed that the time slots for Rampage and Battle of the Belts, 4 I think, have once again changed. Rampage will air in its usual 10 p.m. I'm not sure which time they use. Do they use Central or Eastern? Probably Eastern. It's
Eastern.
Usual 10 p.m. time slot. And then Battle of the Belts will go live at 11, after 11, meaning that AEW and SmackDown will no longer be head-to-head. So initially, the time slots seem to suggest a clash, not this Friday, but next. But now, it's going to be WWE and AEW separate.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think people might have got a bit like, come on, get in there and fight. Fight for our love.
I like when they do it, though, because it leads to mad things like Bryan versus Suzuki on the pre-show. Like, it just leads to... But I think maybe in this instance, maybe it is wiser.
That is the one thing that I do miss from having head-to-head shows is you'd have like some consistent booking on both throughout, but then just the odd like ridiculous surprise.
Right, yeah.
Like, I kind of like, because it's constantly fighting for the eyes of the audience.
It's like wrestling on fast forward, so it's like quite frantic, but this will be presumably maybe a calmer affair. Although Battle of the Belts... not all the belts will be on the line. I don't know how accurate.
But am I right in thinking as well? Like, pardon my ignorance, because I'm still sort of catching. I'm still on island time a bit. We've got SmackDown, Rampage / Battle of the Belts, Bound for Glory.
Oh yes, Bound for Glory.
All on the same day.
Oh really? Oh wow. I'll tell you what. Impact just had Victory Road. And it seemed like a jolly good time. Fair play to Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
For just excluding themselves from this narrative and just Who would have thought that Impact would be the relatively drama-free company in 2022?
There's a family video that exists, and it's my brother and my cousin fighting over a beach ball, and at one point he drops the beach ball and they start like slapping and pushing each other. And in this family video, while they're fighting, you see like 5-year-old, 6-year-old Tom coming behind him, picking up the beach ball and leaving. I'm very much Impact Wrestling in that particular instance. Masha Slamovich will be on the podcast feed tomorrow. I'm having a chat with Masha tonight.
Fantastic.
She's going to fight Jordan Grace. They're going to knock the stuffing out of each other at Bound for Glory.
Absolutely.
So, we'll have a chat with her all about that, and that'll be on the podcast feed tomorrow.
Very good stuff.
Let's talk about NXT from last night. We had a pub rules match.
This is a man's pub! I don't know if you've seen this. Tom. So last week, the setup to this match, before we talk about it, was that Gallus are backstage in their sort of APA-esque designated pub area backstage.
Yeah.
Joe Coffey's launching darts at a double. Feel the power, Taylor! Eat your heart out! He actually says that.
There's a Phil Taylor reference on NXT last
Jockey
week.
Wilson as well.
No
Jockey
way!
Wilson! Not a bad drop. Takes a little drink.
I was hinting that Phil Taylor would be Ric Flair's last opponent just about a month ago, so NXT clearly watches the news.
Yes, of course. Then Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley all come in and they go like, oh, boy, we're feuding with you. And they're like, hey, Raimi. And there's just a lot of noises going on. And then the security get in to stop them from fighting and take the cowboys and cowgirl away. And Joe Coffey shouts after them, this is a man's pub. So that led to this match on last night's NXT, in which we saw Gallus attack security and referees in a post-match brawl. And due to this, Tom, they have been suspended, according to WWE.com.
They literally were told, get out of my pub. They are
Get out of my
done.
pub.
There's a storyline suspension for Wolfgang Mark and Joe Coffey. I wonder whether this means a little refresh for when they come back, because it's only a storyline one. Whether we get a slightly new look Gallus. I
Yeah.
hope this isn't the end of Gallus.
Surely
as
that would be a
NXT.
weird way to write them off, wouldn't it? I mean, it keeps them looking strong. They were too wild for this promotion. But maybe I'm looking at it maybe in a similar way to Ronda Rousey's suspension, where it just emphasizes how bloody dangerous they are. It's a man's pub.
So they should have Wolfgang come out and go, WWE fined me all this money, so I doubled it, and he pours out coins. Do that, Barry, please. Thank you. Staying with NXT, we have a title match confirmed for our main event of Halloween Havoc.
Yes, we do. So Ilya Dragunov recently made his surprising return to NXT to a big reception. But him and JD McDonough, the former Jordan Devlin, are both gunning for that NXT title held by Bron Breakker. So Bron Breakker came out and said, why don't you both face me at Halloween Havoc in a triple threat match? So that's an interesting one, because usually with Bron Breakker, I've found him to be the clear favourite going into title defences. Like, they're not going to want him to be beaten or pinned by this person. But in a triple threat, anything can happen, in the words of Ellie Goulding.
Oh, nice.
I think,
was it?
yeah,
Anything can happen.
It
It sounds a bit like Thomas the Tank Engine.
really
If you listen
does.
to that song, that's a little extra away from the news. So I'm up for this. Dragunov, McDonough, Breaker.
Yes.
I feel like Bron Breaker's kind of doing like this, like the 12 trials of NXT.
He really is.
I feel like he's just facing like all the NXT UK roster and just beating them one by one.
He is. I once attended a Progress show when they came to Newcastle in the company of Matthew, actually, from Botchamania. And also...
Did he get around in?
Don't remember. So maybe yes. And also Mike from Coop Chicken, the finest chicken in all of Newcastle. Those two had a match. Obviously, Bron Breakker wasn't involved.
Mike from Coop Chicken and
No,
Matthew?
Yeah. McDonough and Dragunov had a match, and it was comfortably the best match. It was an amazing match.
Yeah.
So they've clearly got some chemistry. Hopefully, they can replicate that even in the maybe trickier settings of a triple threat stipulation.
Well, we'll find out at Halloween Havoc in a few weeks to come. More wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe and love you. Bye.